Chapter 15. Fingers curled in his collar. You should practice a kiss, at least once. Come here. Yin launched towards to Atura, Izuku quickly grabbing her by the waist to stop her. Teach, help! Atura cried, running into the corner of the bedroom as he cowered in fear. Wait, Yin, calm down. If his parents come back and hear the commotion, we could give ourselves away, Izuku shouted, attempting to pull her back down on the bed. She froze, then sat unwillingly on the edge of her mattress, her fingers twitching, itching to punch something. Keep suggesting shit like that, and I will promise I'll make sure you never talk again. Hear me out, please. Atura threw his hands up. I'm not trying to make things uncomfortable for you guys. I'm really not. My mom can read body language phenomenally well. Maybe a bit too well. I'm telling you, if you kiss for the first time in front of her, she'll definitely know. Is she that good at physiology? Izuku questioned. She's won multiple awards for her research papers regarding quirk development in relation to mental health. She's also the president of the Japan Behavioral Physiology Association. Of course she is. Izuku sighed, dropping his head. Ian, what's the likelihood that she'll be able to tell that it's our first kiss if we wait to do it in front of her? 81%. That's so high! Like Atura said, she's a professional. Honestly, even if I would be able to tell if two people never had a first kiss, I saw them try it, our awkwardness and body language would give us away. And you blush like a tomato, Midoriya. His ears turned dark red. Do I really? Yes. Atura and Yin said momentarily. What are we going to do? Izuku asked, panic. We have to practice. Yin whispered, her brows twitching with anger. I knew you understand. Atura clasped his hands together, twinkling. We have to kiss? Are you sure, Yin? There's no other way to do this. Izuku jumped from the bed, stepping backwards. You don't have to make it so obvious that you don't want to kiss. I don't want this as much as you do, she shouted, also standing to her feet. I didn't say I didn't want to. I didn't mean it like that, Izuku retorted. Pervert! I'm not a pervert. I'm trying to be respectful. Suddenly, their ears were met with piercing sound waves, causing a loud ringing. Izuku and Yin slammed their hands over their ears, dropping to their knees in agony. After a few seconds, Yin looked up at Atura, angry. He was holding up his fingers, which looked like they were done snapping motion. What the hell did you do that for? I'm gonna butcher his quirk name. Resonance manipulation. Atura can control sound waves, creating high-frequency attacks that distort or paralyze enemies. He can also cancel noise entirely, creating zones of absolute silence. It goes for his own noise too, so in combat he makes as much noise as possible to manipulate his sound waves to confuse his enemies. You guys were shouting way too loudly, Atura hissed, then turned to Izuku apologetically. Sorry, Teach. I'm fine, he muttered through the edge of the bed to help him to his feet. I knew Atura was strong, but I never actually had to endure his power before. You could have just told us to shut up, Yin yelled. Atura held up his fingers and he threw it in motion. I'll do it again. Do it. I dare you. Oh, okay, let's calm down. Izuku stammered worriedly. Yin crossed her arms over her shoulders, huffing. This fucking sucks. Jeez, quit complaining, Yin. This isn't the worst thing that you've done and been through before, Atura said sharply. Oh yeah? Then what is the worst thing I've been through, Go ahead. I know what you're gonna say, so say it, since you want to be smart with me. Yin suddenly turned around, grabbing Atsura by the collar. You know, you've been getting real bold with me lately since you got taller. It is not because I got taller. I'm just learning to stand my fucking ground. I wonder who I picked that up from. Why are you acting like I'm making this hard for you? I already am doing more than I should just to keep you attending that stupid-ass school. Without it thinking, Izuku grabbed Yin by the hand that had been gripping Atsura's collar and pulled her back into him, holding her shoulder so she faced him. Yin looked at him, who sadly met her dewy eyes. I understand that the situation is less ideal for all of us, Izuku said. We're all stressed, but if we keep arguing and making this more difficult than it needs to be, we'll end up getting caught. Atsura's parents will take him back to Sabotro. We'll lose a wonderful student. And you'll live in this house alone, Yin. Silence overcame them, and Atsura began to pout, while Yin bit the inside of her cheeks. Have we settled down now? Sure. Yes, sir. Yin yanked her hand out of Izuku's grasp, pushing off his chest to take a step back. I'm sorry, Yin. Atsura whined, hugging her from behind as he laid his chin on the top of her head. You know I love you, right? Get off me, she growled, squirming in his arms. Izuku couldn't help but laugh. They go back to normal way too fast. Yin threw Atsura off her shoulders, causing him to cry dramatically. Atsura, leave the room. But we need to come up with a plan. We already did. We did? Midoriya and I are gonna practice kissing, so leave. Atsura gasped. Meanwhile, it looked like Izuku's soul had left his body. Okay, I'll leave you to it. He waved goodbye, running out of the bedroom and closing the door behind him. Yin stood there, while Izuku's face turned a hue of pink. No way we're actually going to do this. I mean, yeah, it's for a mission, but for Atsura's sake, we can't just risk everything if we want to pull this off. But right now, we're just going to do it? Midoriya. Yes? He squeaked, finally looking her in the eyes. Her eyebrows snapped together. Jeez, relax, will you? I was going to ask how you wanted to do this. How? Yeah? Like, do you want to do it sitting or standing? Or have me sit and you stand? I really don't know. Have you ever kissed anyone before? His eyes darted to the floor. Yin's eyes widened. Oh, I've been really focused on my career, okay? I have no time to think about romantic or relationships of any kind of stuff like that, he argued with pink cheeks. Her eyes squinted. I'm not judging you. You don't have to explain. Oh, right. If we keep up with the small talk, I'm going to jump off the balcony, she hissed. Let's just get this over with. Okay, right. You're right. Izuku clenched his fist, preparing himself. Okay, we got this. Yin threw her hand over her mouth, turning over her shoulder. Izuku tilted his head in the side. Are you okay? He began to hear soft giggles escaping her lips, her shoulders shaking as she tried her best to muffle herself. Are you laughing? Sorry, it's... You really have to hype yourself up for a kiss? She snickered under her hand. Izuku's mouth parted in shock. She can laugh? He hadn't expected it to sound like that. It was soft, warm. He could only compare it to the wind chimes swaying in the breeze, light and musical in a way that made something flutter in his chest. It was the kind of laugh that made him want to hear it again, and made him proud that he was the reason for it. Yin wiped the corner of her eyes, taking a long exhale. Sorry, I wasn't laughing at you. It was just funny, that's all. It's fine, he said sincerely. Really, you can laugh as much as you want. I think I'm done. Thank you. Yin said, confused with his sudden enthusiasm. Okay, I'll sit here, and you just go for it. He watched her plop down on the edge of the bed. Go for it. Yep, just kiss me. Izuku watched as Yin adjusted herself on the edge of the bed. His legs suddenly felt unbelievably heavy. Sure, romance hardly crossed his mind, and he certainly hadn't thought about kissing, but at least assumed his first kiss would be someone he was dating. He hardly knew Yin. Did he even know how to kiss? Was it one of those things that someone was just supposed to know how to do? Would it come to him naturally? His mind began to spin, clouded with panic thoughts. He can't kiss her. Not like this. He didn't know how it worked. Would she hate him if he was a bad kisser? If he was a bad kisser, would their marriage crumble? Was it really okay to kiss her to begin with? Shouldn't a kiss be between two people who loved each other? Izuku wasn't in love with her, and he was positive that the feelings was mutual. If you really don't want to do this, just say so, Yin said sharply, pulling him out of his thoughts. We'll come up with a different solution. It's not a big deal. No. I can do it. Sorry, I just never expected my first kiss to go like this, he admitted, walking over to her so he stood in front of her. I guess I'll make it worth it for you then. Izuku's cheeks grew hot. Huh? Don't take it the wrong way, she interrupted, holding her hand. I just don't want your first time to be terrible. Right, so we are kissing once, or if we're trying to get comfortable with each other so it looks normal to Renya, we should kiss more than once, but Yin grew silent. She may have been acting like kissing wasn't a big deal, but in reality, her heart was pounding harder than ever. Izuku noticed the way her hands lightly trembled in her lap. Let's just start with one, okay? You can make the call after that. Yin finally looked up from her lap, her eyes meeting his soft, searching gaze. Yeah, okay. He took a deep breath, lifting his hand to her face. His palm was warm and steady as he cupped her cheek, his thumb brushing lightly along her skin. She silently leaned into his touch, almost instantly, and the simple action made his heart squeeze. He tilted his head back gently, his green eyes flickering down to her lips. Yin held her breath, her eyelids fluttering shut as the space between them grew smaller and smaller by the second. Every inch felt like an eternity, the anticipation making her skin hum. When his lips finally met hers, it was soft, hesitant, a feather-like touch, as if he was afraid she'd be angry if he pressed any harder, and for a moment it stayed like that, still and gentle. One short kiss. Izuku pulled just enough for their foreheads resting together, breath shakily in this simple, small space between them. I kissed her. Her eyes flickered downwards, struggling to stay locked with his, as the angle drew her gaze to the tip of his collar, where his shirt was loose around his neck. The faintest glimpse of his chest teased her vision, warm skin that curved the muscle beneath fabric. It was distracting, dangerously so. The scent of his shampoo lingered, something clean and faintly sweet. His body heated radiant into her, wrapping around her like a gentle embrace. She wanted to pull back, to breathe, but she couldn't seem to move. Not even when his green eyes stayed so fixed on her. Their hearts pounded hard and tintamin, each beat loud enough to drown out every single sound. Was that okay? Izuku whispered, his voice barely audible, above a breath. I think we might have to do that more than once, she whispered back, swallowing hard. Yin watched with a dazed, surly gaze at his Adam's apple bobbing with a nervous swallow. Are you okay with that? He asked. She bit the bottom of her lip, slowly nodding her head. For the mission. Izuku tilted her head again, softly pressing his lips against hers. This time, the kiss lingered, still hesitant, but longer, the warmth of his mouth settling against hers in a way that made her breath catch. His fingers tightened ever so slightly against the back of her neck, his thumb brushing against her jaw. Yin lifted her hand, her fingers curling into his collar of his shirt, clutching the fabric as if it were the only thing keeping her grounded. The tension between them softened just a little, not quite comfortable, but no longer purely awkward, and for a few seconds, the mission felt very far away. Hey, you guys, my parents are back with dessert. Atura barged into the room, swinging the door open. They jerked apart like they were being electrocuted, trying to sink towards the intruder. Atura's face went unclear. His eyes began to bulge out of his skin, flashing a deep, mortified red. Sorry, I forgot you guys were doing that. Just come downstairs when you can, he yelped, as his voice cracking as he spun around and bolted down the hall. The two of them froze stiff for a few seconds before collapsing out of embarrassment. Yin fell back onto the bed, throwing her hands over her face, while Izuku, meanwhile, dropped to his knees on the floor, his face buried in the crook of his arms, as his whole body burned. What the fuck was that? There's no way that his first time he was totally normal. Yin screamed in her head. That's what kissing feels like? It's so much better than I could have imagined. Did she like it? Or was that I liked it? Oh my gosh, I actually liked it. Oh, why did I like it? Izuku panicked. He stated, but he already was up and moving, practically sprinting for the door. Let's go, she called out, without looking back, her voice pitched higher than usual. Okay, he called out, scrambling to his feet to follow her. Neither of them dared to meet each other's eyes as they made their way down the stairs, but the warmth of his lips still lingered onto hers, and the brush of her knuckles against his neck was... Well, how do we put this? As they held his collar, wasn't going to leave his mind anytime soon. We brought cake, Renya smiled as they entered the kitchen, Azuru and Atura already helping themselves to serving the white frosted delicacy. Oh, why do you two look so embarrassed? No reason, nothing. Oh, she blinked. All right then, well, help yourselves. Get ready for tomorrow. It's gonna be a long one. Well, actually, I don't know if I'm gonna be posting it tomorrow because tomorrow I have my first tennis game. So who knows? But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I love you all so much. Bye. Mwah.